off. Today is day 190 of the year of streaming and learning to code. We are continuing on here at freeCodeCamp with, you know what, they don't have lesson numbers. They do have section titles. Little kitty, you are mostly in the way. Keep moving. Keep moving. We are at the jQuery section, if I'm not mistaken. Let's check out this. Little kitty, you've walked back and forth like 6 times. No. 3.5 times in a matter of 14 seconds. You're going to need to make up your mind. Alright. Where have we left off? We have left off. Ta-da! Conquering. Why does it always take us, when we click on the freeCodeCamp logo in the upper left, it always takes us to the next section that we haven't completed? Or to the next section after the one we haven't completed. You know, whoa, hey, little cat, what is this? There are paws, and there's some serious stretching going on the keyboard. No. Adorable, but no. Look at, let's just turn you. Yeah, look at that. Look at that, so much better. We're going to set a water bottle there to prevent you from pouncing on the escape key. But do you see this? We haven't completed learn how script tags and document ready work. But it takes us straight to target. It always takes us to the one after. Can't figure that out. We conquered all of responsive design. So even though freeCodeCamp has been interesting, challenging, not quite, insightful, consistent. It's been consistent. We are going to see how big of a dent we can make here in jQuery, because at this point, the next section, basic front-end development projects, that's where we're really trying to get, and I'm pretty sure we can just dive into these now since they're green and available. They aren't grayed out like some of the later courses are, but in keeping with the freeCodeCamp, I would think, ideology, that's how it's presented, just chipping one thing off the list, off the block at a time. I'd like to continue down their little premeditated path they have before diving into said next section. Without further ado, though, let's get back to the correct area. And before we dive into that one, let's look at the last grayed out one, which is this guy. And we set up a commented out section. In the first line, only change the code above this line. We dropped in our little quote marks, comment marks. Commented out that line in preparation for, ta-da, it's alive, the next section, which is the beginning of jQuery. Okay, good. Enough celebration. Day 190 commences. New ground. Here we go. Learn how script tags and document ready work. Now we're ready to learn jQuery, the most popular JavaScript tool of all time. Don't worry about JavaScript itself. We will cover it soon. Before we can start using jQuery, we need to add some things to our HTML. First, add a script element at the top of your page. Be sure to close it on the following line. Your browser will run any JavaScript inside a script element, including jQuery. Inside your script element, add this code, $document.ready function, curly braces, to your script, then close it out on the following line, still inside your script element, with brackets, parentheses, and a semicolon. We'll learn more about functions later. The important thing is to know that your code you put inside this function will run as soon as your browser has loaded your page. It's important because without the document ready function, your code may run before your HTML is rendered, which could cause bugs. Bad times. So let's go ahead and prep the scripting area First, add a script element to the top of your page. Be sure to close it on the following line. Script and script. Beautiful. Okay. Your browser will run any JavaScript inside a script element, including jQuery. Inside your script element, add this code, which we will do here. $document.ready. Document in parentheses, my bad. Okay. Document.ready function followed by curly stuff. This guy gets a semicolon. Oh, there we go. Nice. Then close it off. Following stuff, we'll learn more about functions later. The important thing is that important thing to know your code, blah, blah, function, yes, document ready function, beautiful. So I don't think there's anything further we need to focus on, so let's go ahead and run this. Cool beans. Indeed. All right. Target HTML elements with selectors using jQuery. Now that we have a document ready function, now let's write our first jQuery statement. All jQuery functions start with a $, usually referred to as a $sign operator or as blank. jQuery often selects an HTML element with a selector, then does the same thing to that element. For example, let's make all of our button elements bounce. Just add this code inside your document ready function, $button.addClassAnimatedBounce. Note that we've already included both the jQuery library and the animate.css library in the background so that you can use them in the editor. So you are using jQuery to apply the animate.bounce class to your button elements. Additionally, make sure to use the $button.addClassAnimateBounce semicolon instead of $button.addClassAnimatedBounce semicolon. What? Since single quote operators will not pass our test. Yes, here is the difference they were talking about. I was like, they take up nearly the same amount of space. You know what? That's actually interesting. Look at that. Single quotes and double quotes take up the same pixel spacing as each other. Who would have known? I had no idea. I mean, it's to a T, really. It's just about flawless. It's not... I thought it was a smaller, I guess, icon, if you will. I'm not sure, marking. But they're the same width. Fascinating. That's what we learned today. That's going to be the most significant thing out of day 190. Kind of soul-crushing. Let's see if we can top that. Wow, little kitty, out of all the buttons you can reach, is still the escape key. You've been napping for... How long have you been napping for? You've been napping for 8... No, not... Now 9 minutes. 9 minutes. Move your hand. It's my fault, really. I moved the water bottle. Typical. Because the water bottle was blocking the screen. It blocks the text in the lower areas, really. I know that's not critical, but... Oh, there we go. She's balled up now. Little kitty is again on the desk, doing her little nappy stuff. What am I looking at? Bouncing buttons, right? Animated bounce. $sign something. For example, let's make a list of all your button elements bounce. Just add a code inside document ready function. Challenge accepted. Tab. $. Quotes. Button. Add class. followed by animated bounce. Cool. Semicolon. Hey, did you guys see the bounce? Look at that. Let's get rid of the semicolon, and we add a semicolon. That's a little cool. Come on. That's fun. Admit it. Dance buttons. Dance. Okay. Alright. It's like we're building a tiny universe and we're its master. Did we need to do something else? Was it just the one line, the one button animation? I think it was. Target acquired. Very cool. Target elements by using target elements by class using jQuery. You see how we made all of your button elements bounce. We selected them with the $button, then we added some CSS class to them with the .add class animated bounce. You just used jQuery's .add class function, which allowed you to add classes to elements. First, let's target your div elements with the class well by using the $.well selector. Note that just like with CSS declarations, you type the period before the class name, then use jQuery's .add class function to add the classes animated and shake. For example, you can make the element with class text primary shake by adding the following to your document ready function: .text primary .add class shake animated shake. Cool. So let's go ahead and do animated shake for .well. We'll drop down to a new line, and yet another adventure begins. .well followed by .add class with parentheses and a fresh pair of quotes, followed by, and, oh, that's not it, animated, animaniacs, animaniacs, okay, no, heel Steven, focus, something about shaking, yes, not animaniacs, wow, there's a lot of movement happening regarding the buttons and the well. Jesus Christ. If anyone's curious, this is what it's like living in California with earthquakes. Except it just happens whenever. No one's really ever ready for it. Just kind of sneaks up on you. How come it's not shaking? Are we not oh, we weren't giving it enough time to refresh. There we go. Look at that. I just think that's so cool we can make it move. I don't know why I find that so satisfying. Let's go ahead and run the test. Far out. Damn straight it's far out. Okay, we are doing good. Target elements by ID using jQuery. I can only assume it's freakishly similar to what we've been doing. First, target your button element with the ID target3 using the hash target3 selector. Note that just like with CSS declarations, you type a hash before the ID name, use jQuery's .add function to add classes animated and fade out. Here's how you make the button element with the ID target6 fade out, target6 .add class animated fade out. Good. Fascinating. Shift 4. It's the $. That's what we were looking for. On the hunt for them $signs, yo. Speaking of hash stuff, target 3, I believe, is what we're on the hunt for. Add class, followed by something animated. That short-term memory, I'm telling you, it's a lethal. Animated fade out. Oh my god, it disappeared. Guys, we just killed off target 3. Oh, that was a comma. Look at that. That is so interesting. Does no one else find that fascinating? I think it's so cool. Let's do this. Now I want to make like a tower Jenga and have all the floors fade away. I don't know if I should have it fade away from the top. No, that would be crazy talk. I should have it fade away from the bottom. Both. I guess a building would maybe break at the structural weak point. I guess that might be in the middle of it. Not important. Onwards, next section. We'll get there. Storm that castle. We are storming things, and we're storming things. Delete your jQuery functions, but they're so cool, though. Everything moves. We're going to have the shakiest app ever. We need to add the animated shake function for if the app detects movement. Everyone on their phone would be so pissed. They'd have to leave their phone perfectly still to be able to use it without it shaking the screen. Ugh. Talk about a first-class ticket on the vomit comment, right? Everyone would be nauseated looking at it. No bueno. What are we doing? We are looking at the instructions. The animations were cool at first, but now they're getting awesome. They have a typo. They have distracting. They meant awesome. Delete all 3 of these jQuery functions from your document ready function, but leave your document ready function itself intact. Okay, so we're just cleaning out all this noise. Before we do, we're going to do it once more. Because we can. Twice more? Yeah, that was 1. Semicolon. Okay, good. Simple mind, simple pleasures. Get rid of said stuff. Beautiful. And we are running. And we're running most efficient. Target the same element with multiple jQuery selectors. Now you know 3 ways of targeting elements: by type, $button, by class, $.btn or period, and by ID, hash, so forth, something. In this case, target 1. Although it's possible to add multiple classes in a single .add class call, let's add them to the same element in 3 separate ways. Using .add class, add only 1 class at a time to the same element 3 different ways. Add the animated class to all element types with button. Add the shake class to all the buttons with the class .btn, and add the primary button. Add the button primary class to the button with the target ID 1. Note. Kind of confused. I sort of stopped listening after this section, really after the colon. We just kind of went on autopilot and just sort of read through. Didn't really catch it. We'll try to focus on the note. You should only be targeting 1 element and adding only 1 class at a time. Altogether, your 3 individual selectors will end up adding the 3 classes shake, animated, and btn primary to target 1. Okay, let's piece this nightmare together, shall we? 3 targets. No, not 3 targets. Bad Steven. We're already off to a rough start. Are 3 class calls elements something? We're gonna end up with $3. That's all I know. $. Who's first? Boo. What? Button? Button. Yeah. Button dot add class. Animated. Cool. Semicolon. $. Quote stuff. Oh, that's not good. Outside. We want all of its bits on the inside. .btn. .btn followed by .add class. Little kitty, you moved, and now your tail is under my wrist, and I can't, like, really type the same way I would pressure-wise with your tail on the underside. Thank you for moving that. And now you're caressing my forearm, which is even more distracting. We're setting the water bottle between you and me. Ridiculous. You threw off my train of thought, cat. We're shaking. We are shaking. Shake. Semicolon. I knew we'd remember eventually. $sign. BT something or other. Is there a hash involved? I don't think there is. Oh, it's for target. There is a hash involved. I was looking here, but where I needed to look was here. That was the difference. Target 1. There is a hash involved. .add class. Yes, beautiful, beautiful. It's all coming together. btn primary. Yes. So what happened? And semicolon. Oh, because it's blue. Target 1 is blue. I was like, why does nothing look different regarding target 1? It actually does look different. It's Smurf blue now. Yeah, look at that. See? See? Versus, gone. Ta-da! Be-di-di-di-di-di. Very cool. Let's run that. You're king of the world. We are the king of our app thing that we're doing, our activity that they've provided us with. Yeah, we can be in charge of that. Remove classes from an element with jQuery. In the same way you can add classes to an element with jQuery add class function, you can remove them with jQuery's remove class function. Here's how you would do this for a specific button. $target type new .remove class btn default. Let's remove the btn default class from all of our button elements. All the buttons are going to suffer? That doesn't necessarily seem fair. $button button. Wait a minute. Okay, no, that is good. That is good. Button dot remove class. Followed by button default. Yeah. Cool. There we go. Button default eliminated. Face melting guitar solo. That's what we need after each activity. At which point we would have just had our 100th face melting guitar solo if they celebrated with face melting guitar solos between each item here at FreeCodeCamp. Alright, so that's also cool. 100 items down. Not bad at all. Where does that actually set us in the scheme of things? Life? Right about here. Not bad. Change the CSS of an element using jQuery. We can also change the CSS of an element directly with a jQuery. jQuery has a function called .css that allows you to change the CSS of an element. Here's how we would change its color to blue. Target1.css color blue. This is slightly different from a normal CSS declaration because the CSS property and its value are in quotes and separated with a comma instead of a colon. Delete your jQuery selectors, leaving an empty document ready function. Select target 1 and change its color to red, very similar to this, minus the blue to red fiasco. We will clear out this noise. And we will do as they say, dollar parentheses, quotes, target, right? Target 1. So there's a hash involved. Target un dot CSS. 2 sets of quotes. We're going to need 2 dragons. Well, that didn't work. That didn't work either. That was not graceful. I wanted 2 quotes to happen automatically. It's because we did one and we didn't move over. Keyboard issues. So the first set gets color, like so, and they want red. Aha! We changed it. Look at that. And now we're going to do green. I know we're not supposed to, but they can't stop us. White. It's gone. What about purple? This is so interesting. You know, it's probably not for anyone watching, but it's so cool. The learning process is so enjoyable. I don't know why. And it's such simple things. I hope learning when we get to the back-end section that it's as fun as this. A lot of the back-end stuff, I mean, the SQL courses were okay at Code Academy, but I'm hopeful they've got slightly, what's the phrase we're looking for? More polished courses regarding, the back-end data management type activities and languages. Hopefully they've got slightly more polished activities for us to do. The ones at Code Academy were there. That's about as good as it got. A winner is you. D. I think it's a good sign that the learning is fun. I think that means we're on the right path, hopefully, that I find it enjoyable. Disable an element using jQuery. You can also change the non-CSS properties of HTML elements with jQuery. For example, you can disable buttons. When you disable a button, you will become grayed out and can no longer be clicked. jQuery has a function called .prop, which allows you to adjust the properties of elements. Here's how you would disable all buttons. Button.prop disable true. Disable only the target 1 button. We will do so. Something regarding... No, don't click the button, Steven. Buttons aren't toys. Not meant to be clicked. $. And we're disabling. Button something. Dot. Not CSS prop. For properties. 1 set of quotes. Comma space. 2nd set of quotes. Do we see how much more smooth and efficient that execution was compared to the last one for CSS? Because we learned from our mistake. Not button, disable, disabled, it is past tense. It's disabled versus disable. Yeah, no, that makes sense, that's fine. That function or that property is disabled, not is disable. That would be weird, that hits the ear. Oddly, rolls off the tongue in a poor manner, to say the least. We are looking for true, and we are running stuff. No, they hate everything we just... Oh, target 1. You big, dumb, forgetful, illiterate bastard. Hash target 1. There we go. Grayed out. Look at this. See that? We can select all of those, but you can't select target 1. Way cool. There is no spoon. There never was. There never was. Okay, check text inside, not check, change. Change text inside an element using jQuery. Using jQuery, you can change the text between the start and end tags of an element. You can even change the HTML markup. jQuery is a function called HTML that lets you add HTML tags and text within an element. Any content previously within the element will become replaced with content you provide using this function. Here's how you would rewrite and emphasize the text of our heading, h3 HTML M jQuery playground, closing M tag. jQuery also has a similar function called .text that only alters text without adding tags. In other words, this function will not evaluate to any HTML tags passed to it, but will instead treat it as the text you want to replace the existing content with. I'm not gonna lie, sort of phased out right in this section. Something about something else. Change the button to the target 4 by emphasizing its text. As a side note, I would like to know, we were going over this yesterday, some of the differences between freeCodeCamp, similarities and differences between freeCodeCamp, Code Academy, some other entry-level, learn the ropes, how-to sites, kind of focusing on their shortcomings. One of the ones was, what was it? Assuming the knowledge here at freeCodeCamp, like this. They haven't discussed yet what the deuce and M is. We know because we've conquered Code Academy and in general, some other activities, Code Wars, things like that. But for someone else who isn't coming in at day 189, if they went, hey, learn how to code, wound up at freeCodeCamp because it seemed awesome, rightfully so, perfect assumption by their part, at least from what I've seen, M's, they haven't talked about them. They imply. You can definitely read between the lines, figure out what it essentially means. It does seem like, I think someone else had mentioned last night, hey, they probably want you to go figure out what some of this stuff is on your own. One would probably Google M and figure out what it means. So that's all, just throwing it out there. This is one of those moments where they haven't quite explained it, but they're definitely inferring. There's a lot of inferring here at freeCodeCamp, which is good. It's better than just assuming and not inferring. So there's a lot said between the lines, if you will. Anywho, that's all. Just wanted to highlight that. Let's do this. We are target 4ing the out of this thing. Go time. We got dollars. I'm gonna rain in parentheses, keeping it orderly. Nothing says a good time like lots of money and everything happening in an orderly fashion, right? H3? No, that's their example. Target 4. Hash target 4 dot ht. No, that was MT. HTML. It's in quotes. Not yet, actually. Carrots, and we're slashing, and we're emming, and we're emming again, and now we have quotes. We are looking for what text do we want? Is it the jQuery playground that we're supposed to put in here? Or are we supposed to put target 4 again in here? That just seems really odd. Maybe it was that portion of the paragraph that we didn't focus on. jQuery also has a similar function called .text. Oh, that one. Okay, so that's how HTML works. and it replaces it. Now we're going to be focusing on .text, so this will probably have to be changed. Looks like we should have been paying attention from the beginning. Typical. 190 days later, just barely skating by. You lazy bastard. jQuery also has a similar function called .text that only alters text without adding tags. In other words, this function will not evaluate any HTML tags passed to it, but will instead treat it as the text you want to replace the existing condition with. So I don't need the HTML tags, is that what they're trying to tell me? And I just replace the text? Let's try it out. Text. It did work. Now it's an empty target. It's no longer target number 4. It's just a blank. It can be anyone. This is basically what a stem cell looks like. It can turn into anything. Infinite potential. Alright. Don't mind me. Just a moment. Hold on. Alright, crisis mostly averted. Okay, here we go. Where are we? Apparently I had less time to stream than I realized. Damn, I thought we were going to be able to knock out the rest of this. Let's finish this one. I think we did finish this one. We'll knock out one more section and then we'll close out the stream. Kind of a coming to a grinding halt. Okay. It's what? It's already... We're nearing 12:30. It's 12:23. So let's do this. We've got our soulless stem cell button that can be anyone it wants to. But what are we doing now? I'm going to hit run anyways. They didn't like what we suggested. Emphasize the text in your target 4 button by adding HTML tags. Make sure the text is otherwise unchanged. Don't alter any other text. Make sure you're using .html and not .text. Aha! Make sure to select button ID target 4 with jQuery. What the deuce are they talking about? I'm going to piece together their nightmare from the test stuff because I did not get any of that with this. Change the button ID. Oh, we're changing the button ID for target 4 by emphasizing... What the do they mean by emphasizing the text? Huh. Weird. Let's piece this nightmare together, shall we? Oh. Yeah, okay, let's do this. Let's do HTML stuff. HTML followed by button ID equals target 4 4 followed by something. Copy. My mind's racing. I can't think clearly because we're supposed to end the stream quickly, so now I can't think straight. Those bastards. It's okay. It's okay. It's all good. Change. Blah, blah, blah. Red HTML. Aha. There we go. Italics. That's what they were wanting. Let's do... And we're quoting italics followed by a slash and an I, and the quotes should be on the outside, like so. I'm wondering if they want the hash in there or not. Kind of a tough call, but let's see if we pass without it. Emphasize the text in your target 4 button by adding HTML tags. Make sure the text is otherwise unchanged. I think it's the hash. They must have wanted the hash. There's that. Text is otherwise unchanged. Emphasize the text. I wonder what I'm missing. Huh. HTML, blah, 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 blah. Even though the code is correct, it's not +1. I am instead of I. There we go. It is. I was wondering if that was the issue. I wasn't sure because their examples, usually it's not 100%, and then they went on their whole tangent about buttons and stuff, and I got confused. Typical Steven. There we go. Ta-da, you're heating up. Awesome. Let's knock out. Do we do one more? Or yeah, this is quick, and then we'll back out all this nightmare and save the best for tomorrow. Cool, cool. Okay, so we made a pretty good sized dent. Remind me later. Let's close out of this. Remove an element using jQuery. Now let's remove an HTML element from your page using jQuery. jQuery has a function called .remove that will remove an HTML element entirely. There's a lack of period on this sentence. They got it here and here. That middle child. It's always the one to be forgotten. How unfortunate. Remove element target 4 from the page by using the .remove function. Let's try our luck. $, quotes, target 4, dot remove maybe I shouldn't have gotten... Actually, is that all we need to do? Do we even need to specify target 4 after the remove? Because it's gone already. Let's just try running it. Ta-da, it's on like Donkey Kong. Way cool. That worked. Let's gander. What do we have on the horizon for tomorrow? Use append to move elements with jQuery. Sounds exhilarating. And we will save all that noise for tomorrow. Let's go ahead, back out of freeCodeCamp. We can close out of this. thank you again to anyone and everyone who may have stopped by to view the stream, especially anyone who may have accidentally stumbled in here. Any and all views are greatly, greatly appreciated. Let's go ahead and back out of this, dive into OBS. The adventure continues tomorrow with day 191 of the year of streaming learning code, but in the meantime, we are stopping the stream. Are you sure you want to stop the stream? Hell yeah, kill it!